Nakonde from Lagos, Nigeria, and you're welcome to the Faith Culture podcast. On today's episode, we're discussing, a subject that a lot of people are struggling to grapple with, and that is the subject of hope and expectations. And I have with me, an amazing person, an amazing leader, who's going to be helping us sort of like understand this better, and that is Mayrion Washington. Mayrion Washington is a leader. She's a leadership coach. She's been helping people gain clarity as per leadership, business, and a whole lot of stuff. And tonight, I'm just pretty glad that she's joining us on this conversation, so we could really understand this, and then help a lot of folks out there gain a better perspective when it comes to hope and then expectations. Welcome to the show, Marian.
Thank you, Mr. Akande. I am so excited about being here. I had met you a few weeks ago, and this conversation came up, and it's an awesome conversation, awesome topic, because a lot of times, when we use hope and expectations, we use them sometimes interchangeably, but they have really two different meanings. And so today, hopefully we can break that down, and I can tell you from my perspective how I look at it from a biblical perspective, because hope is something that we live with it every day. I don't think we probably realize how important it is, and how every day we wake up in expectation of something that we're waiting on, and that hope, it causes us to wait for it. So I'm
Wow.
excited about this conversation.
Yeah, same here, same here, same here. Okay, well, I think a good place to sort of like begin this conversation is to, let people know, what exactly is hope, and what is it, when we say expectation, what does that mean as well? Let's just differentiate these two things. Or maybe I should even ask, are they the same thing?
No, they're not. Hope is something that, from a biblical perspective, we don't see it, and that's why we're yet hoping for it. Expectations means that we're expecting it, we want it, we desire it,
Mm.
and that desire leads us to hope for it. In other words, some people would look at it and say that desire and that expectation leads us to manifest it by hoping for it. Hope is something that we're waiting on. Expectation is the vehicle that leads us to hope. And I think that's a good way of looking at it. When we expect it, that is the desire of something that we want. We're waiting on it, and then that leads us to hope for it. And that hope is what is being manifest. And that's the way I look at it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Mhm.
And but then it's just very interesting to what you just said now, that expectation is the vehicle that that brings hope to pass. Am I correct?
Yes, that it is, because if we already have the hope, why would we have to expect it? So we don't have a need to expect it, because we already, something we already have, we don't hope for it. But if we don't already have it, that expectation leads us to hope for it. Like, say for instance, in 5 years, the expectation is, for me, is that I am hoping that I would have made $1 million. I
Mhm.
don't have that now, but I'm living in expectation of it. And the expectation causes me to also take some action on what I'm hoping for. I don't just hope for it and not do anything, but I hope for it. The expectation pushes me to have to do something, so that that hope can be revealed uh, in 5 years. So that's the difference. That is actually the difference.
Okay, so the fact that I'm expectant of something, I'm hoping for something, doesn't mean I need to just fold my hands. I need to
That's
get in.
correct. That is correct. We have to work. We have to do something. We have to work for it. And that is why I often tell, my tribe, is that we don't want to come and be hearers of the word, but we have to be doers also. So that means when you come in, we should always have an objective for anything that we do. And so that objective leads us to have to do something, and we don't just have it and not do anything. We might get lost along the way. We might lose a little spark along the way, but the expectation is going to push us to have to do something for that we're hoping for.
Okay, but then how does this play out in relationships, for example? I mean, you're with someone, and then you have the expectation that your marriage or relationship is going to work absolutely well, and but then I mean, but how does this really play out? Do I need to? Does this really is this necessary to sort of like play the card of expectation and hope when it comes to a relationship, or is this
It,
just a personal thing?
yeah, it's in every area. It's holistically. It's in every area of our life. If it's a relationship, say for instance, you're waiting for the perfect person.
Yeah,
So you live in expectation. You know what it is that you want. You know the type of person that you're looking for. And so with that, you expecting her to come along, but how are you expecting for her to come along? You're going to have to position yourself to start looking, and in your looking, you're hoping that with all of your looking that she's going to show up.
yeah,
If you're already in a relationship and you are looking to take that relationship, say, to another level,
yeah,
what you're going to do, you're expecting it. You want to keep the relationship ignited, or you want to take it to, because relationships go from level to level depending on how much you invest in it, right?
sure.
So it's like anything. That's why people get so bored so quick. They stop investing. When you stop investing, you don't get anything. You're only going to get out of that relationship what you invest in it, right?
Yeah,
So that's why people keep looking for something new. When you don't have to keep looking, you keep investing in what you have. And that investing in that is the expectation that this relationship is going to get better if you're connected with your soulmate. It is the right person that God has placed in your life. And that is going to lead you with the hope that it's going to get better if I do this, this, and this. But along the way, you have to be doing something in order for it to get better. And that's what you're going to be hoping for. I hope by me, coming home, by me cleaning up the house, by me bringing her dinner, by me buying her roses, I'm hoping you're doing something, you're expecting something back. And that with that, you're hoping that that's going to make the relationship get better.
yeah,
And if you're putting in the work and you're doing the action, it's not an empty expectation, if that makes sense.
yeah,
It's never an empty expectation if you're doing the work.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
sure. Sure. I mean, and I feel strongly like asking this question: is there a spiritual or a supernatural dimension or angle to the subject of hope and expectation?
Is it supernatural?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess when I look at it, because I'm everything spiritual and Bible based. I wouldn't say. I think when we look at it from a supernatural standpoint, I believe that it can happen because it's an expectation. Just say, for instance, if it's a supernatural thing, if it's an expectation, I would basically say from a supernatural, when I come home today, supernatural mean it's just something that's just going to happen anyway. I believe that's what you're saying. Is that right?
Yeah,
It's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
something, and that it could be from it could be from a supernatural standpoint of something that's automatically going to happen, and that is what we would be called when we're lit with that's fate. It was going to happen anyway,
Mm,
whether you set the expectation to hope for it or whether you did nothing. Fate says this was going to happen. Bam.
yeah,
That's totally it. So
yeah.
yeah, it can happen supernaturally also.
Okay. Oh, good stuff. Because I know lots of Christian folks would love to understand that, and that was why I actually asked, that question. And
Mhm.
then, taking this further, we talk about ambition. Is ambition and hope the same thing?
I would say our vision is something that we see down the road. I would say there's something that's totally different. It's the vision that you have for yourself. We can see way up the road. I believe a vision can be, when I look at a vision, I look at it from a time perspective. When I look at hope, I look at hope as short term. When I look at vision, I look at vision as long term, because our vision is what we see for ourselves, what we and I guess when you looked at it, you could say it's what we hope for ourselves. But somehow I believe they are two different things. I believe when we have a vision, I believe that is the vision. Our vision is connected to God's will for our life, and when that happens, the vision is going to come to pass. We can be hoping for something just in our own person, and that hope doesn't really have to be connected to what, I would say, what God has, for our life. And then it can you can hope for it, you can get it, but it may not align with the will of God for our life. I believe that our will and God will has to align, and then that's when our vision, we have the vision that connects us to take us forward, and that's what we can envision for ourselves, right? And so I think that, to me, that's a little bit of a difference between what we're hoped for and what the vision is,
Yeah,
if
very
that
good.
makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does make sense.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm going to ask you this, Marion. Have you ever, had to talk to someone who seems to be hopeless, right? I mean, someone who is hopeless can have expectations. Am I correct?
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, how have you helped such persons? People, I mean, someone whom you've had to move from the point of hopelessness to having hope, and then working out, their expectations.
I believe that, at some point in our lives, when it's something that we really want and when it's something that hasn't happened over a period of time, we can just lose hope. We just can't see it. It's not happening. I know there have been times, if I can be honest with you as a leader,
Yeah.
that I could speak to someone, speak into their life and see it for them,
Mm.
and and prophesy it, and it happened in their life. But at the same time, I could not see it in my own life. It felt like it was just so far away. And so when I normally, see people like that, I believe you have to walk them through different steps. I believe as a leader, you have to be able to listen to their heartbeat, listen to pain. I think a lot of times, especially for people that are in a 9 to 5, as I step back now and look at things that happened to me, in a 9 to 5, I can look back now and say that person was really crying out because they felt hopeless in the moment. And so, did I see that? Of course not, because I'm at work. I'm not functioning from my spiritual, place, and I didn't see it. So when they're functioning from a place of hopelessness, a lot of times, hopeless people, they draw to people that seem like they have something they don't have. And so when they draw to them, especially with, let's say, a supervisor and an employee, and they're drawing to you because really they're acting out of hopelessness. So when you're doing a job and they keep just keep coming, they're acting out of hopelessness and desperation because there's something about you that sparks them, and we don't always know that, and that's because you are the hope that they really want. They
Mm.
don't know how to tell you that, and when they don't know how to tell you that, they act out by coming on really hard to you. So I believe in a situation like that, we have to first feel people on an emotional level. When we feel people on an emotional level, we have to be able to listen. And then we have to allow their spirit to calm down, because in order for you to give them hope, they have to let you come in.
Yeah.
And most of the time, hopeless people do not want you to come in, but you've got to get that wall down and be able to listen to them and calm their spirit until you can get in there. And then you start planting the seed of
Mm,
hope.
mm, mm, mm. I mean, great stuff there. Great stuff. While looking at your profile, I noticed that you're an enrichment speaker. So, I mean, what does that mean, though? I mean, they just a digression. What does that mean?
Yeah, overall, when I think about myself, and what I do and how I impact people's lives, I enrich their lives. Enrich their lives I mean to touch every area of their life. Nothing goes untouched. To enrich something means to lighten the burden of any low places in their lives, any places of pain, agony, any places of low expectations, any places of where they've been emotionally damaged.
Mm,
I want to come in and refuel that, pull back those layers, and then enrich their lives so that they can go up to the next level. That's enrichment. Enrichment is a holistic thing, not one part of your life, but all of your life. And that's enrichment.
wow,
That
great stuff.
that means that every area of your life, there is nothing lacking. LACKING. You're enriched in every area.
Wow, great stuff. And I mean, and you also refer to as the first lady of inspirational leadership. Okay, so can you just give us like few tips in getting one's life enriched, like just practical tips. Yeah.
A few tips in getting somebody's life enriched. Somebody comes along and they don't feel like they're worthy. I deal with a lot of ladies that come from the corporate environment. I was there for 30 plus years. I know what a chore that can be. I was so glad when God pulled me out of that world and brought me over here, because you are really everything that you are, and everything hinges up on productivity, how well you do a job. And that comes out on a review that you get. They review you, and that tells you what your worth is. By the time people are coming out of there, they're so bitter and angry and mad because they've made a lot of people rich. It hasn't did anything for them. They've got a very low salary. They have very low self-esteem. They're not motivated. They are very angry. They're not moved by anything. I have to come in and dig out all under all of that stuff to let them know who they are. You have to pull all that stuff back. So you have to really, really, really touch the inward. Inspiration comes within.
Yeah.
Motivation is not outward. You have to get inside in order to allow people to see who they are. And that is a part that is not always easy. Once you get in, you can inspire them. Speak to their situation, speak to their pain, speak to their agony, pull that back, allow them to start to get some healing. And that's how you inspire. And you continue to inspire till you get her at a level that she can see herself there and can take herself on up the ladder. That's the inspirational part, and that's within. And so you have to go in, and people you have to build relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like love, trust. You have to build that with people where they trust you. You have to be able to speak to where they are, speak to that pain, and get them some relief. That's the inward inspiration. Motivational is always easier because motivating is outward, and you're just going to have people take action. Inward, you're going to have to work inside out, and it's not, and that brings about a transformation. It's a beautiful thing when you see it happen.
I can imagine. Okay, Marion, what advice would you have for people who have loads of expectations, but then, they are bewildered by the fact that their expectations are not being met? What
I,
advice would you have for them?
I believe that when you're at that point, I believe that we have to stop. A lot of times we keep going, but we never step back when things have gone wrong. We never step back when we're hurting, we're damaged goods. Things, life has not, has not dealt us a very good hand. We have to step back. And by stepping back, we have to disconnect from everything around us sometimes in order to get to know who we really are. And so
Mm.
I would say in our stepping back, then we have to be prayerful. We have to really allow ourselves, give ourselves some room to breathe. We have to give ourselves some grace. And we have to be willing to forgive ourselves and to move forward and forgetting those things which are behind us and reaching forth to those things which are before us. We have to
Absolutely.
press and push. So resilience in who we are. And then when we do that, we have to change our circle of friends. We have to get people around us that can build us, people that are good for us, people that are where have been where you are, and we have to allow those people to nurture us, nurture the relationships from people that have been there. Once we do that, you start to get some traction. But I believe from that point on, you start to pour into yourself. We have to read, we have to pray, we have to, and changing your circle is a very, 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 very important thing in order for us to see, because other people start seeing you differently. And then when they start to see you differently and you start acting up on the expectations of what they see, because a lot of times, even with me, sometimes now I don't see what other people see. But once they tell me this is what you see, this is what you are, I'm like, oh, okay. When they say that, I can automatically act on it because that's what they see. And I believe when you do that, I believe oftentimes we need a coach. I know you get in community, like even on Clubhouse, get in a Facebook group if you can't, afford one, but get with people that are going somewhere. They speak to the best version of yourself. You start hearing that all the time, and then you will pick up traction and you will begin to have some hope. And you'll find out that your situation is not singular, but is similar to a whole lot of other people.
Wow, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. How do you know all of this, Marion? I mean, this is pretty.
Listen, oh my God. I've been through a lot. I've been in a relationship with the only man I've ever loved for a very long time. I was in corporate for a very long time. I love relationship building and developing, and networking is my sweet spot. I love doing that. I love learning. I am a forever, a lifelong learner. I read a lot of books. I am in the conversation with scholars and business people, and I'm always connecting with different people in society. I am culturally sound, and from all of that, making my mistakes, from all of that, I've learned, and that's why I love to share and be in on the bottom level, because what we're experiencing now in the workplace is the reason why corporate is struggling to get paying people to come to work, is because of the leadership, lack of leadership. It's not there. And so when it's not there, I get a chance to be on the ground level from being under leaders that were terrible, people that did not see my value, my worth, did not know how to manage me, did not know how to use me, my strengths. And I get a chance to get on the ground level with women and build them up and teach them leadership skills, personal, professional, and self development skills. That really is the foundation of who you are. Once you build that foundation, nobody can take that away. And so I love doing that because of all the investing, years of investing in myself. So to be able to stand and take women to that next level, allow them to, as they call it, stand on the shoulders of giants. That it's a beautiful thing. And I just love doing that. So those are the life experiences that you're hearing me talk about now.
Wow, great stuff. Great stuff. My pastor used to say something. He said, used to say this, that the best of God is never in the past, is always in the future. Do you agree
Yes.
with that? Yeah.
Yes, I totally do. I totally do. I believe that the worst is always over and the best is yet to come. I do. I believe that. That's why I tell people that, when they think that I'm too old to do this or that, and I have to remind them that you're not. We have to remember that purpose is inside of us. It was something that was there, put there when the seed was planted, even before. So purpose is in there. So what we have to know is when we're coming over and we're coming over into another space, into another world, starting over. I know how I struggled just coming over here in the workplace. I always tell them they only got 25% of you. The other 75% is inside of you, and God saved that for himself. They never touched it. You can be gifted to do that job, but the real gift, your bankable gift, that's the millions inside of you, they never touched it. He never allowed it. All you did, you were gifted to do a gift, but your gift from the nine gifts of fruits, gifts of the spirit, they never touched that. That was always hidden and tucked away. So that is the beauty of operating from purpose, right? Is that now you get the opportunity to do what you were meant and born to do. Because when you came over here, you did not come over here with nothing. God gave you skills and talents that are on the inside of you. And that's what we operate from.
Awesome, awesome stuff, awesome stuff. I mean, I see you say a lot about God and about prayer and about all of that. I mean, it tells me that you sort of like really have a deep relationship with God.
I do. I really do. I understand more and more, Mr. A, about myself through the eyes of God, because there's just so much. And I that is the only way, because a lot of times there's so many parts to us.
Yeah.
And what makes it so unique is that being in that world for all those years, I never got to know myself. I never got to know all the things that I could do, I was capable of doing, all the creativity, all of the different strategies, all of the things. You don't really get to know it in there, because you're operating under the mindset of someone else. And when you're operating from here, it's limited, and it's coming from a natural standpoint of just learning down here. But when you come from here, that's coming from there, and it's so different. So I'm learning more about myself, and what I'm capable of doing and the possibilities. And I believe that's what happens with a lot of entrepreneurs that come over here, that I don't think they take the time to really know themselves, what they're capable of doing. And so you end up leaving probably thousands of dollars on the table. And so I'm learning. I'm learning. I'm growing, and I'm enjoying the journey.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Okay. I mean, we're about bringing this to a wrap, and I mean, the conversation has been interesting for me, and I'm sure to everyone will be listening to this conversation as well. Okay, but just before we wrap up this, back to the conversation proper: hope versus expectations. What would you say are the common misconceptions about these two subject matters?
I would say the common misconception is people think they're one and the same. I don't think they ever step back to dissect it and see if they're different. I believe when we and probably in time past, if I did not study, go into real research and studying, I would think so too. But I think the misconception is that they're both the same thing. When we look at hope, you're hoping for something, so you're expecting it too. It's the same thing. And I believe that's the misconception of it right there. They're just not the same. And I believe when we take it and we dissect it and we recognize what it is, that we're expecting something to happen. So that expectation leads you to take action. When you take action, that is the vehicle that takes you that it's going to manifest itself, because I'm hoping for it, because I did the work. I believe that is the misconception of it, is because they're just not the same. And I think until you and I started having the conversation, I looked at it and was able to say this is something totally different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, final words, Mayrion. What will be your final words for people on this, on this conversation tonight?
I believe my final words is keep the expectation alive. Always when you're expecting, always set out an action plan, the measurables. You need something that's going to guide you to what it is that you're hoping for. If it's a new job, if you set that expectation that you want a new job, what am I going to do to get that job? If I don't have the skills for the job that I want, how do I go about getting those skills so I can get that job, so I can make this money? So you're strategizing about what it is that you want to do in order to go to that next level. And so when you set that strategy, you put your action plan together. When you put that action plan together, you start acting up on that. And you're acting up on it once you've accomplished it in order to get it. And then you're ready for the hope. And that hope is going to lead you to get it because you put the work in. So you hoped for it, and then it's going to be manifest because you're going to get it because you did put the work in. So that's what I want to say. Expect it. When you expect it to happen, you do something about it. You don't expect it and sit back. Start doing the work. And doing the work is going to lead you into hope, and hope is going to manifest what it is that you are desiring. Those are my last words.
Thank you so much. Doing the work is going to lead you to hope, and that is the hope that won't fail. Absolutely.
Yes,
Great,
totally.
great stuff, Marion. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank
I
you
know
so
you're,
much.
I know you're currently on vacation, and yet you were able to create that time, to do this. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Yes, this was awesome. This was really, real awesome, awesome conversation. And I just can't wait to hear it.
Great, great. Okay, but Mariam, before you go, how can people get to hear about you? How can people find you? I mean, just please tell our listeners how they can sort of like hear more of you and find you.
Okay. Yeah, you can get me on Instagram at Mayrion Mayrion A Washington. There's my brand is there. We're warm. We're engaging. We're relational. We're inviting, and we get you actions. That's my whole staff. We're customer service centric. We serve you, and we are not satisfied until you get results. You can also reach me on Clubhouse at Ladies of Genius. You can reach me on LinkedIn at Mayrion A Washington. You can reach me on Facebook, and where I have a group also called the Ladies of Genius Society and Network. Any of those places. And if you want to email me, please email me at info@mwaconsultinggroup.com. We would love to hear from you and have a conversation. Let's chat.
Great stuff, great stuff. Thank you so much, Miriam. All right, so we've
Awesome.
come to the end of today's conversation on the Faith Culture Podcast. I'm sure you were really inspired, by this conversation with Miriam. I mean, this has been quite inspiring for me. All right, so if you love what you're hearing, I would love you to please do us a favor, share this with someone, let them also, get inspired by all that has been shared today. And if you also haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, please do that. Feel free to also do a review for us. It helps us to know how well we are doing, right? So please do not hesitate to do that review wherever you're watching this from or listening from. So like come your way next time, guys. Do not forget that there's a major difference between hope and expectations, right? If you want what you're hoping for to come to pass, you need to put in some work, right? You need to put in some work. And I mean, listen to this again, listen over and over so that you can catch all the gems, right? And I'm sure you will be a better person yourself. Thanks a lot, Marion, for coming to the show.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
We'll get to have you on the show some other time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Enjoy your
Bye,
vacation.
everybody.
Bye for now.
You
Yeah.
too. Bye-bye.